Welcome into the DNVR Rockies Player Preview Series. I'm your host, Patrick Lyons. Joining me, as always, Kevin Henry from RoxPile and Call to the Pen, Kenneth Weber of Purple Row. Today, we are not just talking about Colorado native and Denver's own Kyle Freeland. We're talking about Colorado Rockies 2022 opening day starting pitcher, Kyle Freeland. He was 7-8 last year with a 4.33 ERA and 23 starts after missing the first 2 months of the season with a left shoulder sprain. And from 13 starts last year, we got to see that Kyle Freeland of 2018, where he finished fourth in Cy Young Award voting from June 22nd to September 1st, posted a 2.66 ERA, ranking 7th in the majors in ERA over that span. And getting the nod here from Bill Schmidt and Bud Black, you got to think, at least they think, he's going to do that again in 2022.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at really at least the second half of Kyle Freeland's 2021 season, started looking like that guy we saw in 2018 again. There was a lot of vintage Freeland that's been showing up, and I think, hey, man, they'll sign up for it again if it comes back.
3 earned runs or fewer in 15 of his last 18 starts last year.
Yep.
So what they're banking on is that Kyle Freeland carries over to this year. And I know a lot of folks were surprised about maybe Marquez not getting the opening day start and going to Kyle Freeland. But if you look at what he did last year, I think that's a big thing for the Rockies. Say, yeah, we want that to carry over. And, and we've talked a little bit about German Marquez being the ace or not. And that conversation has come up with Kyle Freeland as well. But if they just say, Kyle Freeland, go out there, pitch, Kyle Freeland be Kyle Freeland, it's going to be all right.
That was one of my questions is, like, what else does he need to do? And that's just be consistent. He did it last year. We saw it in 2018, 2019. Got sent down to the minors, really had to work out a couple things. 2020 was whatever, right? So it's really just a matter of going into the season healthy so that he can string it together for 6 months and just be himself. He doesn't really need to work on too many things, or is there something he needs to get better with?
I mean, the only thing that I will say is if you look at Freeland's numbers last year, there were some games that he got absolutely bombed.
Yeah.
And I think it's cutting down on those, to be honest with you, because the vast majority, he was good, he was solid, but when he was off in a big way. And one of those, two of those happened in May, and then one happened in San Francisco in September. But still, cutting back on those, I think, is that way that he takes that step forward and gets back to Cy Young vote-getting Kyle Freeland.
Yeah, 2020 was obviously just this whole abnormality of a year. Yeah. But it is fair to say that it was big for Kyle Freeland because 2019 was that much of a disaster.
Oh, gosh. And
it did kind of get him back on track. Last season, just to dovetail on what Kevin was saying, his first 5 starts, 5.23 ERA, walk percentage over 10%, K percentage just 11%. He had that really scary shoulder strain in spring training, set him back. He came back. Oh no, is this, the 2019 Freeland that we're getting again? After those 5 starts, his next 18 starts, 3.24 ERA, 6.6 walk percent, 22.7 strikeout percentage. And that's including the 7-run dud against the Giants in September. So really, he had 2/3 of his season where he was that guy again. We saw it come back again. And I think that's why he's getting rewarded with the opening day start this year, because they're expecting that same guy in 2022.
One of the craziest things when I was looking at this, in July, he had a 2.40 ERA in 5 starts, and he was 0-4 in those starts. So, I mean, that says a lot about sometimes the runs that he was getting as well.
They didn't have any other options when he came back where maybe he would go out on a couple rehab starts to work out things. So it's, just do it at the majors. And so that impacted, his numbers negatively. But because he's healthy, same thing with Brendan Rodgers. When you go back and you saw, him miss really the first 2 months of the season, came back at the end of May, but it took him a while to get going. Now he should be able to get going, except we got that shortened spring training. I think his start last Friday against the Mariners really went a long way. That was the day that the announcement did come out that he'd be the opening day start. It made you feel a lot better that despite the fact that there's going to be this quick ramp up and you'd like to have the first 2 starts, the 4th and 5th start of the spring still be in spring training before the season gets going.
Sure.
You can't have that. All teams are going to be dealing with that. So that's just, it comes with the territory. But the fact that he's healthy, I think, is going to make that difference. And so he doesn't have those first 5 starts of difficulty that we saw last year. It's not really his fault.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. Everybody's in the same boat
Right.
when it comes to this rush. But if you watched that last start on Friday against the Mariners, man, he looked good.
Yeah,
like
he did.
there,
Oh,
he
man.
looked very dialed in.
Yeah.
So you have trust that as long as he's healthy and he's looking the way he is, that he's going to be stable to start the season. So.
Yeah, in the start right before that, Chad Kuhl came out and said, he just got shelled in a game against San Francisco. But he's like, well, I was working on some things. I was trying this. So he was kind of trying to brush it off. Freeland isn't working on anything. He's just going after it. And I think that's a really good sign for Rockies fans is that he's in a good place heading into this season.
Yeah, he tried tinkering with his grip on his changeup, and he said, okay, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
I had fun with it. Whatever, we're good going forward. The biggest thing that he does better than any pitcher in all of baseball, is getting the double play. 66 times I think is the number since 2018, the most in all of MLB in getting the double play. And so again, if guys are getting on base, or we know at Coors Field with the acreage, that was a word that I've heard you use before there, Kenneth, the acreage out there, you bloop single gets in, not your fault. That's okay. Roll the 2-ball. 6-4-3 double play. The sweetest words you can hear in a Kyle Freeland start, and you've heard it a lot in the last few seasons.
For sure. And one thing that I love is when he gets that double play, he doesn't mind letting you know. The emotion that he wears on
Yes.
the mound, I will tell you, I think that does a lot for his teammates, does a lot for the fans to kind of get that energy going, and I think he feeds off that energy as well.
Yeah, there's a competitor to him. And I think that's another reason why the Rockies wanted to make the opening day announcement for him. I will say Bill Schmidt was very anticlimactic about that whole thing. It was just in the middle of the broadcast, and he mumbles that, oh, yeah, it's Freeland. It lines up. But I think that Kyle Freeland really does act as a motor for the team as a whole, especially when it's his day to pitch. That left on base percentage, too, that's something that's out of his control a lot as a pitcher. But anybody who manages that LOB, Freeland does it as good as them.
Very true. Very true. Do you think we see another Cy Young Award type season? Again, 4th place in 2018, the highest we've seen out of pitchers since Ubaldo Jimenez. Does he get back to that this year in 2023?
Personally, I don't know that he gets back to that level, but I think he gets close to that level, let's just say. So I think that what you're going to see this year out of Kyle Freeland, which may dovetail a little bit into the bold prediction time. But I do think that he's a guy who absolutely could get an all-star nod. I absolutely think he is a guy, if he can set the tone on opening day against the Dodgers at Coors Field, then I think that that's something he could carry forward, and a lot of folks will take notice of it.
2018 is such a high bar he set for himself.
Very true.
It's so tough. And I think that where the Rockies kind of as an organization have fallen at times is expecting career years out of guys. And 2018 kind of has to be a career year for Kyle Freeland. But I agree completely with Kevin that I think he approaches more of that 2018 guy than we've seen over the past two, 3 seasons.
Yeah.
The Rockies may do that a lot, extrapolating to say, hey, if everything goes perfectly perfect, 94 wins.
Yeah.
But you're right. We shouldn't heap that upon Freeland here. Bold prediction. What have you guys got for Kyle Freeland in 2022?
I think I tipped it a minute ago. I think he's an all-star guy. I absolutely do. I think he's an all-star guy. I don't think, again, he's at that Cy Young level. But as you mentioned, 2020 was such a weird year with the pandemic. Last year, he started the season hurt. This year, he's healthy. He's motivated. He's got that juice of the opening day starter. I think he carries that through all the way to the all-star game.
Yeah, I bounced a couple of different ways with Freeland, but I'm going to go with the positive on this one. I think Kyle Freeland is just built for that moment to happen at Coors Field, and we almost had it with that no-hitter. I'm going to meet him halfway. Kyle Freeland is going to carry a perfect game into the 8th inning this year at Coors Field.
I like that one. I like that. Does he get booed at Dodger Stadium? How bad are the boos? I guess it depends on the opening day start.
Yeah.
At the All-Star game.
That's true. As long as he doesn't cross Kershaw like Tyler Anderson did. Wasn't it Anderson that did?
Boy, I can't recall that one.
This is not ringing any bells.
Okay, well,
But I would love to look it up.
Well, we'll look that up later.
Yeah.
All right.
No, but I'm sure he would relish that, of being the bad guy, being the
absolutely,
heel.
you
Go ahead,
know.
boo me, because I'm an all-star. My bold prediction for Kyle Freeland is he's going to throw 180 innings this year. It's only happened 34 times in club history. In fact, since 2011, only Chassin did it twice, I think 11 and 12. Marquez did it twice. De La Rosa, Bettis, and Freeland have ever hit that mark in the last 10 years. So it's kind of a rarity. That's the new 200 innings. I think he hits 180, and obviously the start on opening day puts him in a net positive there to get going this season.
I like it.
It's going to be a good one.
It's good. I like
going to
that.
be a good one for K-Free. It's going to be a good one for all three of us up here and all of our coverage on the Rockies. That's Kyle Freeland's player profile for DNVR Rockies. Thank you for tuning in.